Hi, and welcome to episode 33 of the Noble Character Crafts podcast. My name is Amy, and I am coming to you from eastern Nebraska, where I live on a farm with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Friday, July 20th, 2018. Thank you so much for joining me today. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. I really appreciate you joining me, and I hope that you enjoy this episode. This is a podcast all about my life as a knitter, a crocheter, a hand dyer of yarn. I have also started sewing recently, so I have a few of those works in progress to share with you as well. You can find me online on Instagram and Etsy at Noble Character Crafts. You can find me on Ravelry at Noble Character, and I also have a group for this podcast on Ravelry under Noble Character Crafts Podcast. In that group, you will be able to find the show notes for this episode as well as previous episodes and several other chatter threads, so I would love it if you would join us over there. You can also get in contact with me through my email, which is noblecharactercrafts@yahoo.com. All of the links to the places that you can find me can be found down below in the description box as well. I am currently hosting a knit-along that is only for a few more weeks. I am hosting a brioche knit-along that runs until the end of July, and that is for any project that you have that includes brioche of any kind, and it does include whips, so you can certainly enter any of your works in progress. Since there are only a few weeks left until the end of the month, of course, there's probably not a lot of time to do a large brioche project if you haven't started yet, but if you would like to maybe try a hat or something like that, you probably would have plenty of time to complete that within a few weeks. So I would love it if you would join us over there in the Ravelry group for that knit-along. There is both a chatter thread and a finished object thread in the Ravelry group. So please join us over there, and you can certainly also include the hashtag brioche knit-along on Instagram with any of the posts that you might have showing off your projects. I have completed my brioche knit-along contribution, so I'm so excited that I was able to complete this project. This is the Brioche Ponchology, which is a pattern by Sosu Knits or Suzanne Summer, and I'm so thrilled with this project. I really think that I'm going to be able to get a lot of use out of it. I love how it fits. I mean, it's not really a fit, but I love how it looks on, and I'm just really super pleased with it. So I really like the versatility of it because this is the right side of the brioche, and this is the way that the design on Ravelry shows it being worn. But I think my favorite way to wear it is on the wrong side and kind of sideways. So let me rearrange it on this. Well, that was a lot harder than I thought it would be. Man alive. It's easier to rearrange it on myself than on this mannequin. But okay, this is not really centered very well, but this is the wrong side, quote unquote, of the brioche. And this is supposed to be the shoulder seam. But I really like it like this. I think that this is more flattering, and I think I'll probably wear it more like this. I just really like how it looks turned sideways. So, but I do like it the other way as well. I did realize at the very end of making this project that I had made a pretty significant mistake, I think, in following the repeats for the increases for the brioche. So I think it's most noticeable when I had it turned the right way. Sorry. Wow. So it's most noticeable on this pattern right here. This is supposed to be quite elongated. I think I was supposed to, I'm pretty sure that I was supposed to do these increases right here it's supposed to be spread out more, and I ended up doing these increases right in succession of one another. And the pattern says to repeat so many rows before you do an increase, and I didn't do that right. I didn't realize that I had done it wrong until I went through and looked at some other project pages, and I was like, wait, they don't have this circular looking detail on theirs, and neither does Suzanne in her original design, of course. And yeah, these are just really elongated, and then the chevrons are just way down at the bottom, which I thought was kind of strange because, as I had mentioned last time, I had to continue this chevron pattern for a long time because it was so short on me. I am tall, I'm 5'10", so I thought, well, I guess it's just because I'm taller, that's why it's hitting me so short. But no, it would have fit me probably just fine if I had followed the pattern. But it's okay. I improvised and I made it work for me, and I'm super happy with it in the end. So this, I used all of my own hand-dyed yarn on both of my worsted weight bases. So I have 2 worsted weight bases. One of them is called Lenora. It is 100% superwash merino, and one of them is called Caring, and that is 100% non-superwash merino. So I used several scraps that I had used from previous projects, as well as a few extra skeins that I had on hand. And I just used quite a few of them up that I thought went well together, and I'm so pleased with this. I did not follow the pattern for the color changes, or in quite a few areas of the pattern, Suzanne calls for there to be only 1 color brioche, and I did 2 color brioche throughout the whole project. I used US size 8 needles, I'm pretty sure. I'll correct myself down below if I'm wrong, but US size 8 are 5mm. I'm pretty sure that's what I used, which was what the pattern called for. It's worked at a 16 stitches to 4 inches gauge. And yeah, I'm super pleased with it. It has an I-cord edging, both along the top and the bottom actually. You start with an I-cord, and then you finish with an I-cord as well, which I love so much. Yeah, there's, not only did I make mistakes in following the pattern, but there are also a few other mistakes which I have talked about in previous episodes, but it's not noticeable in the long run. It's beautiful, and I'm actually quite shocked that I was able to make this and I'm just so pleased with it. I can't recommend this pattern more. I think it is such a fun project. It worked up pretty quickly for the size of this garment and that it's brioche, but since it was worsted weight, it worked up fairly quickly, I thought. I certainly was not monogamous in working on this project, so I'm very pleased with it, and yeah, I'm super excited for it to cool off so that I can wear it. I'm so excited to have it. So anyway, I think that's all. You can certainly check out my project page if you are interested in any of these colors, but there's several different colors in there, so I'm not going to go through each of them, but super happy with this, and so glad that I was able to participate in the brioche knit along as well. And yeah, I absolutely love brioche now, and I feel comfortable with it, and like I have said before, it's really not as hard as I first had thought it would be, and I'm so pleased with it. So, okay. I have another finished object that I actually have not shown on the podcast before. It's so cute! I am thrilled with this. So I had mentioned that I was going to be making this little baby cardigan for a friend of mine who had a baby boy in April, and we don't live in the same town anymore. She's a childhood friend of mine, but she lives back where I am originally from in eastern Iowa, and we're going back to eastern Iowa in a few weeks, and we're going to get to see her and her new baby boy, and I am so excited to gift this to her. So anyway, this is the Double Dutch Child's Cardigan, which is a pattern by Mina Phillip of the Knitting Expat Designs and the Knitting Expat podcast. And I love this so much. I am just so pleased with it. I use my own hand-dyed yarn, Noble Character Crafts yarn, again for this project. This is on my Josephine base, which is a DK weight, 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And this is on my iron colorway, which I think is such a nice neutral for a little baby boy. It will, you know, of course it could be for a girl as well because it works for any sex. So I just think this is so cute. Love that cable down the back. And this worked up so quickly. I made this within a week and it's so cute, isn't it? I am just so thrilled with it. I hope that it fits him. I made the 6 to 12 month size, so I'm hoping that that will work well for him to be able to use in the fall and then into the winter as well. And oh, I think it's so cute. So I did not get gauge as recommended on the pattern when I swatched for this. I swatched using a US 5, 6, and 7. The closest I got was with a US 6 4mm needle, and I got 22.5 stitches to 4 inches. The pattern calls for 22 stitches to 4 inches, but that's as close as I could get. The US 6 4mm needle was where I got the gauge that was closest to what was recommended. So I think that it will, you know, if anything, it would be a little bit too big according to my gauge. And from what I can remember of a 6-month-old, I think that this will work. And, you know, it will grow with him, hopefully, throughout the winter. So, anyway, I am super happy with this. I also used a US 4 for the ribbing. It just has 2x2 ribbing. I used Jenny's Surprisingly Stretchy Bind-Off for the cuff here, which was the first time I had used that. And well, actually, I have tried using it before, and I thought it looked way too sloppy the last time that I used it, and so I ended up ripping it out. That was on a different project. But anyway, I had tried binding off with my regular bind off on the cuffs here, and it was too tight because I want them to be able to roll up this cuff if the sleeves are a little bit too long on their little one. So it was a little bit too tight around the cuff with a regular bind off. So I did do that just on the arms. Anyway, I found these little buttons that I thought were neutral enough and worked well. I wanted to get some buttons that were gray, but I couldn't find any. So these wooden ones I thought looked nice as well. Anyway, so happy with this. I can't wait to give it to her. I get so excited giving gifts to friends. It's it just warms my heart to give gifts to friends, and I can't wait to give this to her because she doesn't know I'm doing it. It'll be a complete surprise, so I love doing that. Anyway, so happy with this project, and I really would like to make this, because this pattern goes up to a size 8 for children, and I would like to make this maybe for a few of my other children, because I have children ranging from age 4 to 9, so it would probably fit a few of my other children. So I would like to maybe try that for a few of my other ones. I'm drinking a new concoction that I've started drinking lately. So I have gotten a bag of frozen berries from the store. It has blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries frozen. And I just put a bunch of them, maybe like half a cup of them, into this glass and fill it up with water. And it just makes the water sweet, you know, just naturally sweetened by the berries. And it makes this beautiful color as well. So I've been drinking this lately. It's really refreshing, and I would recommend that if you want to try something new. And, you know, I have a problem drinking water. I know I should. I like water, but, you know, I can go for a long period of time, and I'm like, I still haven't finished this glass of water yet. You know, I need to drink more water. So this is helping me drink more water, I feel like, because it's exciting. And also the little raspberries kind of go through the straw sometimes, and so you get a little surprise of a raspberry. Anyway, I like it. You should try it. Okay, so those are my finished objects. On to works in progress. Okay, my first work in progress is in a bag that I made using the Easy Drawstring tutorial on YouTube by Erica Arndt. And in here I have a pair of socks that I am making. This is my car knitting, so I only work on this when I'm traveling. And I am using Knit Picks Felici in the Candy Shop colorway. And I am making a pair of Rhinebeck Roomies socks, which is a pattern by Kay Litton of the Crazy Sock Lady podcast and Crazy Sock Lady Designs. I am making 2 at a time, obviously, which is my favorite way of making socks. But you do get a little tangled once in a while. Okay. Oof. Okay. So, here, let me turn them this way. Last time I recorded a podcast, I was right here where this beautiful stitch marker from Amanda of Little Bitty Delights is marking. And so I have worked on these a little bit. You know, I've gotten another stripe repeat there. I have gotten to the heel. I'm going to be putting in an afterthought heel. So here you can see I've started working in stockinette on the sole of the foot. So I will put the stripe in right there. I'll put the heel in right there. And I love this pattern. It's so much fun. I love working with sock patterns that have some pattern to them but are simple. That's my favorite. So I don't really enjoy making vanilla socks where it's just stockinette stitched throughout the whole sock. I like doing something with texture in it. It just keeps my interest. So, and then the stripes, of course, are also keeping my interest. So it's a good combination. I did 2x2 ribbing on the cuff. I cast on 64 stitches, 2x2 ribbing. I don't know how many rows, I think a little over 20, 25, somewhere around in there. I just did it until I was done with that stripe before I started working the texture. I am using US size 1, 2.25 needles. I am getting 9 stitches to the inch for my gauge. All of my needles are Chow Goo. These are from my mini twist interchangeable set. And yeah, I'm loving these. They're just working up really nicely. That texture is gorgeous. It's so fun for, it works so well with self-striping yarn, I think. It just, you know, gives that texture, a little bit of interest to the sock, and I really love it. So I highly recommend this pattern as well. Okay. My next work in progress is in this beautiful bag by Tanny Casey. And I cannot recommend her shop enough. I have 2 of her bags and I love both of them so much. And can I just say that she's super sweet because she watched the podcast. Hi, Tanny. And last time I shared how I was having a little bit of struggle with some project bags that I was trying to make, and she emailed me and gave me some tips, which I just was shocked by because that's just super, super sweet for her to share her knowledge with me. So thank you so much, Tanny. I really appreciate it. And please go check out her shop, Tanny Casey, on Etsy. She has tons of different bags that are beautifully made and very reasonably priced for the high quality that she offers, and go check her out. My daughter gave me a little note. She always is doing this. I mean, seriously, my daughter makes me these at least, I would guess, at least 3 papers a day. I get them, and sometimes she sticks them in my project bags. She's always drawing. Isn't that cute? That's adorable. Oh, you're so sweet. My little girl is so sweet. Okay. In here I have my Granny's Geraniums shawl, which is a beautiful pattern by Lily of Nordic Stitches. And I have made a lot of progress on this since I showed it to you last. I am really loving working on this. It's all bunched up, obviously, on this cable, but it's so pretty, isn't it? I love this design. It's so much fun to work up. So I'm just recommending all of these patterns because I'm loving everything I'm making, but I really do recommend this pattern as well. And also this is going towards a great cause because $3 from every sale that she makes of this pattern is being donated to cancer research. Originally, she had published this pattern and said that 50% of the sales were going to be going to cancer research, but actually she has increased her donation to be $3 every pattern, which is more than 50% of her proceeds. So very, very generous of her, and I would highly recommend you go check out this pattern and support her in her efforts to raise money for cancer research. So this pattern starts off with that mitered square right here in the middle, and then you pick up stitches along the edge here and work this lace panel, and that shell stitch marker or progress keeper is marking where I was last time I recorded a podcast. So I had only done one section or one of these lace panels last time. So I was able to obviously finish this other lace panel, and then you pick up stitches all along the bottom edge here and start working along the bottom. This I think is written originally to be, well, she has made it in one color. She has done 3 colors as well, and I think that's kind of the idea, is to do 1 or 3 colors, but I'm using, I think, 10 different mini skeins that I have had saved up from other projects. So I am just using lots of different colors that are all, you know, along the same light, either, you know, neutral or pink colors. And I'm loving how it's working up so much. Let me spread this out a bit so you can see these stripes a little bit better, and the lace panel along the bottom here, because it's very pretty. There, you can kind of see that better. I love it so much. Isn't it beautiful? That pattern, I love the lace in there. So I have absolutely loved working on this project so much. I have not looked at my gauge for this. I'm sorry about that, but I am using the recommended needle size, which is US 7 4.5 millimeter needles. And since it's a shawl, I don't really care about the gauge. It'll be fine. If I finish the pattern and it's not big enough, I'll just keep going. So, and I'm not worried about it being too big. So anyway, I am on an easy section now. I'm on the very last section actually, and now it's just garter stitch. So I am doing an alternate edging she has in her pattern. She calls it the alternative garter edge, and that is adding these slip stitches running in a line here, and it goes down from the point of each of these little lace sections. So there's several of them down from each of the lace sections. There's a slip stitch that I'm including because I really liked how that looked in her sample. And it adds, you know, just that little extra interest that, like I have mentioned, I enjoy adding a little bit of interest, not just doing stockinette or garter stitch. I like a little bit of interest to keep my attention. So that is working well for me. I have used up all of the scraps that I had originally planned, except for I'm on my second to last color. So you can see all of the colors here, and then I just started the second to last color, which is this light peach color. It's my Humble colorway. These are all my own hand-dyed yarns from my Etsy shop, Noble Character Crafts. And this is my Humble colorway, which is just a real light peach. I love that shade. And then I will finish off with this skein of Integrity. And this is on my Twinkle Toes base, so this has some gold stellina in it. And I am thinking that this will be enough to make it a good sized shawl, but again, if I think it needs to be larger, I'll just grab some more from my stash, you know, to add on to it in the same color scheme. So I actually have a skein that I'll show you in a little bit that I may add on. It would work really well. So I'll show you that in a bit. Anyway, loving this, very, very happy with it, and yeah, it's the project that I am excited about most right now. I'm loving working on it so much. All right, my next work in progress is a new cast on that is in this cute hexagon project bag. This is from My Creative Frenzy on Etsy. And in here I have my Sweet Bee Socks, which is a brand new pattern by Jules Hill of So Sweet Violet. She has a podcast, and this is her first pattern. And I guess what? I am loving this as well. Sorry to be redundant, but I am super happy with all of my projects. Okay. So I saw her show off her design of these on her podcast, and I just fell in love with them right away. I'm so excited about this pattern. I think it's beautiful, and I really wanted to do the, actual bee colors for mine, including this, golden color and black stripes so that they would really look like little bees. And I love them so much. Oh, they're so cute. Okay, so excited about these. All right, this is the first time that I have ever done socks toe up. So that's new for me. I am using my own hand-dyed yarn again. In the gold color is called Honeycomb. And this is, both of these colors are on my Pitter Patter base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. The black color is my Night colorway. I didn't cast on 64 stitches, but I worked up to 64 stitches, which is the medium size for this pattern. I am doing 2 at a time again. I am using US size 1 2.25 needles, again getting 9 stitches to the inch for my gauge. And I just love them so much. Okay, so the pattern actually calls for you to work one of the socks as a right sock and one of the socks as a left sock, so that you can get the color change of the striping to be on the inside of your foot. Because it's not quite as pretty there where the color jogs a bit. It's not really that terrible though, is it? But anyway, since I'm doing 2 at a time, I am having to change up the way that I do it. So you can see that this is the right sock and the pattern is on the top here. And this is the left sock and the pattern is on the opposite side. So that took a little bit for me to think about how I would do this, but I think I'm doing it right, and I think it's gonna work out. So yeah, so this is the sole of the foot, and this is the top of the foot, and this is the right one, and this is the left one, so that when I wear them, the color change will be on the inside of my foot. Not that that really matters. I mean, it's not like you show the outside of your foot more than the inside of your foot, but anyway, I am just following along. Let's see, this has worked up really quickly. The interest of the pattern is so fun. The toe was really fun to make. I think it's so pretty how it has these little increases in a kind of almost a, I don't know. You can see the little increases there though, and they're really pretty. Maybe it's called the umbrella toe or something like that. It does kind of look like an umbrella, doesn't it? Oh, if I go this way, kind of looks like a little umbrella. I'm not really sure if that's what it's called. Don't quote me on that, but I have heard that term, and it does kind of look like an umbrella. Anyway, the pattern is so fun because, you're changing colors, and then you're working into this little lacy pattern that makes these little bees, which are so adorable. And then I just am about done with this striped section, and then I'll do just the golden color for a while, do the heel, and then there's pretty much the same lacy striping sequence up at the top near the cuff. One advantage to having these be toe up is that I am using the toe as a little pocket for my ball of black yarn, which works out so well. So I have 2 little balls, 1 in each foot, and since I'm doing 2 at a time, yarn management is the trickiest thing with 2 at a time. And this just works so well because I just put them in there, and then I was able to carry the black, as I was working this gold color, I just kept the ball inside the toe and worked the golden color, and then, just carried the yarn up the side here and was able to use that again. So it just works so well. And then, it's a little easier not to get the yarn tangled as I'm using 2 different skeins for the yellow and 2 different balls for the black. So anyway, that's working out really well. I have this new progress keeper. It can also be used as a stitch marker, and it smells really good. It is a lava bead, and I have put some lavender essential oil on there. And this is a new little product that I will be selling in my Etsy shop. So I'm super excited about this. I just had the idea to use a lava bead, you know, because you can use them as a diffuser bracelet or something like that. And I thought, well, that would be really fun to have that on my knitting projects. And then, you know, you can have the lavender on there, which of course is a moth repellent. And I just love the smell of lavender anyway, or you could use any essential oil, really. You just want to make sure that you let the oil soak in before you put it onto your knitting project, so the oil doesn't get onto your yarn. But once it's soaked in there, I haven't noticed any problem with the oil getting onto my yarn at all. And it smells so nice. So here you can, I got one little extra one here to show you. So it's just got a cute little lava bead on there with a few extra beads. And then I have included these new to me clasps that work well for both stitch markers and progress keepers, because it has this large opening so that you can definitely fit a larger needle in there if you want to use it as a stitch marker. So these are recently listed in my Etsy shop. You can certainly go check out that if you would be interested in having any of these. I will also be listing a select few of sock kits with these colors, and I am going to be including this cute little bee progress keeper / stitch marker in the colors that I have used. So again, this is honeycomb, this is night, so it will come with a 100-gram skein of honeycomb and a 20-gram skein of the night colorway. And I have only 6 of these available. 3 of them will be on my Pitter Patter base, again 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and 3 of them will be available on my Twinkle Toes base, which has gold stellina. So 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% gold stellina. So these will be available in my shop. I am going to do an update for these 6. I'm sorry there's so few, but that's all I have of these progress keepers. So get a better view of that cute little bee. These will be available in my Etsy shop on Monday, so that would be July 23rd at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time. So you can certainly check out my shop at that time if you would be interested in getting yourself one of these sock kits. Okay, I also wanted to show off one of my scrappy afghans that I'm working on, because I haven't shown either of, I have 2 that I'm working on currently, and I haven't shown either of them in quite a while. So this is my hexagon blanket, and it is being housed in one of my baskets. I think I picked this up at a thrift store many moons ago. It has a pretty lid too that I don't use very often, because I always, well, I should probably put a lid on it, but I don't. It just sits there on the floor. Anyway, I just keep all of my tiny little scraps of yarn in this basket. And here is my hexagon blanket that I am working on. Let's see. Oh, isn't it so pretty? I love looking at it. I probably spend as much time looking at it as I do working on it. Maybe more looking at it than working on it. It is a little bit of a slow growing project, but that's okay. So I think last time I showed this off on the podcast, which was a long time ago. I can't even remember when that was. But I am working, so I started off with a smaller hexagon, and I'm just continually going all the way around until I have a complete hexagon again. Right now this is not a complete hexagon because some of the sides have 5 hexagons and some only have 4. So I started adding, this time I started adding right here. So last time I showed you I didn't have, it's hard to explain, not that it really matters I guess, but I have added this outside section up to this one. This is the most recent one I just added. So I still have to go around this side up to here to finish the complete hexagon. Anyway, I'm using a pattern that is just my own. It is, I do have notes, detailed notes of what stitches I am using for this pattern on my Ravelry page, so you can certainly check that out. I am using fingering weight yarn. Like I said, tons of scraps. It takes less than 1 gram to make one of the, you know, I tried to measure how much it took to make this center circle, and it's less than 1 gram. it wouldn't even register on my scale. So you can use the tiniest of scraps to make this project, and it's super fun. I am crocheting as I go, joining as I go, so I won't have as many ends to weave in. So you can see this is the back side, and it's pretty neat and tidy because I just crochet over all of the ends as I go. And then sometimes there's little pieces that are hanging out like this, but they've already been crocheted over and they're secured, so I will just go back and snip that off. So I won't have to weave in lots of ends when I'm all done. It should just be the exterior ones when I'm all done, because I don't think I'll put a border around the edge whenever I'm done, which will be, you know, what, 10 years from now? Who knows? But anyway, it's super fun. I love how it looks. So happy with it. I'm using a clover hook, which is a C 2.75 millimeter. And yeah, it's a fun project. I highly recommend it. Give it a try if you would like. It's so gratifying because it uses up such a tiny amount of yarn. So, you know, I hate throwing any of my yarn away, and with this project you don't have to. You can use up every last little bit that you have. All right, those are all of my works in progress for knitting. I do have 2 works in progress for sewing that I would like to share with you. I am attempting, quite poorly, but attempting to make this pattern by Simplicity. It is 8384. And I love it, but I'm so confused by this pattern. I am a new sewist. I learned how to sew from my mom when I was a little girl, but I have never pursued sewing. I have made a few garments already, and those went really well, really, in the long run. So I was really confident going into making this project, and it is so confusing for me. The directions are really hard for me to understand. Simplicity! It's called Simplicity. It is not simple. Not in my eyes. And I have gotten some Butterick patterns, and they tell you the difficulty of their patterns. So I have purchased a few Butterick patterns that are quote unquote easy. Maybe they will be easy. I haven't tried them yet. This is the first pattern I have ever tried to make from a, you know, store-bought pattern like this. And anyway, Simplicity does not tell you what difficulty their patterns are, from what I can see. I even asked the lady at the store, and she didn't see anywhere where it is marked as to whether this is an easy pattern or, you know, difficult. But just by looking at the design, I thought, well, that looks pretty simple. The problem I'm having is with this button band. This piece that goes along the button band is called a placket, and I'm trying to install that right now, and I am really confused. I'm planning on making this A version, which is longer, and I want to add this little cap sleeves as well. So it'll be this top and this bottom. Here's the pretty material I have. I love this material. It's so cute. And I like how from a distance you can't really tell if there's unicorns on it or bunnies or birds, but up close it's so sweet. I really like it, and I'm so excited to have this dress, but it's so confusing. So anyway, I have all the pieces cut out, and I have started constructing it. I was able to do the darts for it, which you probably can't see very well, but you can see here. I put in the darts. There's darts just along the bottom so far. Yeah. Just one dart on each of these sides. So these are the 2 front pieces I have brought to show you. So they go like this. No. They go like this. That's a little better. Oh my word. Anyway, so I have started applying this placket. Here is one of the plackets that has not been attached. I interfaced it. Okay. Actually, I first sewed this placket onto this piece, and then I thought it was wrong. So then I sewed this placket onto I tore that one off and sewed this one on. And it's matching up here, and it's matching some of the pictures in the pattern, but it's not matching all of the pictures in the pattern. And I'm just so confused. I don't get it. I've looked up some YouTube videos on how to install placket piece, and I still don't get it. I have read the instructions countless times to try to figure it out, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing. It's so frustrating. Anyway, my mom is a better sewist than I am, so like I mentioned, I am going back home. This is my home now, but I'm going back to where I grew up, where my parents live, which is in eastern Iowa, in a few weeks for a family reunion. And I'm going to take this along with the pattern to my mom, and she said that she will help me try to figure out what I'm supposed to do, because I do not understand. I don't know. I would try to read you the instructions to see if you can understand them better, but I don't know. I think I'm just going to take it to my mom and see if she can help me figure it out, and hopefully she can. But my sewing motivation has gone down quite a bit since I last recorded. I was super excited after I finished that last dress that I had made that I showed on the last episode. And then I was excited about this, and then I was just getting so frustrated with this pattern and not understanding what I was supposed to be doing. And then we have had a few changes in our family that have been stressful for me, and I find that when I'm stressed, I do not gravitate towards sewing because I'm very new to sewing. I've only been sewing for, I don't know, like maybe a month now. And so I'm not, like I said, I learned when I was little, but I've not really been sewing for long. So it doesn't come naturally to me. It's not easy. It's not relaxing. I enjoy it, but it's more like a puzzle, putting a puzzle together. So it's not so relaxing. So I've gravitated towards knitting more in the last few weeks than sewing. So anyway, that's all I can show you on that project. I would love to have this dress. Oh, and then the other thing is that I realized a little too late, after I'd already cut out all the pattern pieces, that Simplicity includes quite a bit of ease in their patterns. And the size that I cut out, I will have about 5 inches of ease, which is a little too much, I think. I guess the model is wearing it quite loose in the bodice as well, but I think it would look a little nicer if it was a bit more fitted up at the top. But anyway, I think I'll still make this size, and then if it's too big, I can always just bring in the sides to fit me better, I think would probably be the easiest. Hopefully I can figure that out as well. Anyway, so that's where I am with that project. And then I do have another project bag that is in the making that I can show you as well. So you can kind of get an idea of what it will look like. It's another patchwork project bag. And so I've pieced it together, all of the pieces. This bottom piece is brown corduroy, which I really love. And yeah, so I need to adhere this to the interfacing. I'm planning to put some quilting stitches onto the patchwork section here and assemble it all. So that's where I am with that. So you can be on the lookout for that. I'm hoping to be able to sell that if it is good enough once it's completed. So those are all of the things that I have been working on the last few weeks. I have another square to share with you for the 2018 Collaboration Afghan, which is a project that I am organizing along with 48 indie yarn dyers. I have asked each of them to knit or crochet a 7-inch square in one of their colorways and mail it to me, and then I will be piecing all of the squares together into an Afghan that will then be on display at the Indie Untangled Trunk Show in October. And attendees of the trunk show will have an opportunity to win that Afghan at the Indie Untangled Trunk Show as well. So that's super exciting. And I received this beautiful square from Dusty Dimples. This came all the way from England. So that's super exciting. Isn't that beautiful? What beautiful colors are in that yarn. I love it. And I love a granny square. This is on her Paradise Lost colorway. So pretty. Thank you so much. She had to, this is the second one that she had to make because the first one was lost, which actually has happened. I think there's been 3 lost squares for this project. So I am still waiting on the very last one that should have gotten to me quite a while ago and was lost. And I just got an email that she is hoping to mail it today. So hopefully I will have that very soon and I will be able to share that last square with you all and start piecing the afghan together, which of course I'm super excited to do. Thank you so much for your contribution to the collaboration afghan. I really appreciate it. I have a few new things to share with you. I am so excited that I won my very first prize from a knit along. So exciting. So if you have been watching for a while, you may recall that I made a little bag. Actually, I can grab it to show you. I made this cute little bag and participated in the bag make-along that Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady podcast and Amber of Maker's Haven had co-hosted quite a while ago. And I was one of the winners from Amber's drawings for that knit-along. So that was so exciting. I won a copy of this beautiful bag pattern. Isn't that cute? Along with these 3 cakes of naturally dyed cotton yarn. It's 100% combed organic cotton, 25 grams in each cake, 62 yards. It's a light worsted weight, I believe. It's not marked on here, but the pattern calls for light worsted, so I'm assuming that's what this is. Yeah, it's the same brand on the pattern. It is from Pacolet Valley Fiber Company. Read that? Probably not very well. The 3 different colors are copper. This one is covered up. Palamine. And this one is something, I can't read it, something red. It's also covered up under this label. I have no idea what that first word is. Something red. Anyway, super pretty colors together, aren't they? Oops. There we go. So that was super exciting. I was so happy to win. You know, it's so exciting. So, and then Amber was so sweet and she sent along some extra yarn that she dyed, I'm sure. It was in this bag with her label on it, so I'm sure she dyed it. I don't know what colorways, or if she ever named them. Maybe they were just one of a kinds, but I think it's kind of like she does a lot of sock sets sometimes whenever she does dye. She doesn't dye very often anymore, but she has done a few updates, I think, once in a while. And anyway, she does a lot of sock sets with a 50-gram skein and then a 20-gram mini to go along with it. And anyway, she sent this set. It has some silver stellina in it. It's so beautiful. And I was thinking, like I had mentioned before, that if I need some extra yarn in my Granny's Geraniums shawl, this one would work really well with all of the other neutrals that I have been using. So I may end up adding this to that shawl as well. We'll see how that project comes along. But this one is so beautiful too. I love the tonals in that skein. So thank you so very much, Amber. This was such a sweet package to receive, and yeah, super exciting to win a prize. So, okay, I think that's all I have to share with you besides my shawl set. So every time I record a podcast, I try to share a set of 3 skeins that are from my Etsy shop that I think would work well for a shawl project. And I think I have mentioned before that I'm kind of forgetting what I've shown. But I do just kind of want to keep doing this just to kind of give you an idea of some different colorways that are in my shop. I think I should count them, but I have over 70 different colorways in my shop, and I have 9 different yarn bases. And I just have all of those colorways available all of the time on all of my bases. So you can order sweaters quantities at any time. And all of my recipes, I have several skeins that are already dyed up, but the majority of my colorways are made to order. And I'm very particular when I write down my recipes so that I can be consistent and dye up colorways that produce the same colorway every time I dye it. Of course, it's indie dyed, so you're going to get a little bit of variation each time. But that way, if somebody does order a sweater's quantity or whatever, I can just dye that exact amount that they need all at one time so that the dye lot does match very well. So anyway, just so that you all know how I run my business, I have several colorways and lots of different bases. So I have bases that range from fingering weight to worsted weight and everything in between. So I have sport and DK as well. And I have several different fingering weights. I have 2 different worsted weights. So there's a lot of variety there, both non-superwash and superwash blends and so forth. So anyway, I have a lot of variety in my shop, and I would greatly, greatly appreciate any of you checking out my shop. I cannot express to you enough how much it means to me when I get a sale. It just means the world to me to be able to have this business that I can do from my home and yet still stay home with my children. I do homeschool our children, and so it's such a blessing to be able to stay home with my children and yet have this business that I can have from my home as well. So I can't express to you enough how much I appreciate every single sale that I get in my Etsy shop, and I would really, really appreciate any of you checking it out. So anyway, here is my shawl set for this week. And I hope I haven't shown this set before. I don't think I have shown this exact combination. I know I've shown all 3 of these colors before, but I don't think I've shown them together, and I thought they looked really nice together. These are some of my favorite colors. This is Dew on the Grass. Just a nice tonal, it really looks like, new grass growing in the yard or whatever. It's got that nice grassy, yellowish green color to it. This is my Friend colorway, light purple base, speckled with tons of different colors. You can see blues and deep purple and fuchsia and green. And this is my Dignity colorway, so it's just a nice deep purple tonal. So anyway, there we go. That's my shawl set for this week, just to give you an idea of a few different colorways that work well together from my shop. And I am always very, very happy to work with any customers if you have any questions about what different colorways go together, or say you want to do a sweater that has maybe a few different colors in it and you really want to make it with this color and what would work well with this color, for example, you can just certainly contact me and I would be glad to work with you and send you a few different pictures of color combinations that I think would work well together. I've done that for several different customers in the past, and I really appreciate people that are willing to work with me, and I love working with you all to select the colors that would work best for you. So don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions about my shop. So I think that's all I have for today. Like I mentioned, we have had a few changes in our family that have been a bit stressful for me. I guess I'm just not very good with change. It's not been anything major, but we have started going to some special educational services for 2 of our boys that struggle with their learning. And so that involves me loading up all 5 children and driving about a half an hour away from our home to get some special services 3 days a week. So it's just been, an adjustment because we have our routine that we usually follow, and now I've had to reorganize my routine, which I guess I'm just not very good at. It's just been stressful for me. It is a very expensive program as well, so of course that's just an added stress to it. It's fine, we're fine. The Lord has truly provided for us, and we are very grateful for that. But it's just stressful for me to have a change, and it's hard for me not to worry sometimes about making ends meet. But we're doing fine, and I have no reason to worry. So I'm silly to worry, but it's just hard sometimes not to. And then I also had to register our kids for our next year's homeschooling. So I've looked into some new curriculum that I'm going to be using. And so, I don't know, there's just been a few different things that have added up to make, I don't know, just been a little bit more stressed than normal lately, which I'm feeling a lot better now than I was last week. But anyway, that's okay. There's just times when things just kind of, it just was a bunch of little things. I don't know. It's just a bunch of little things that were adding up that were making me a little bit stressed. But anyway, I'm feeling tons better this week, and we're doing well. I'm getting used to our new routine, and so are the kids. And so anyway, we're doing well. The weather has cooled off a little bit, which has been awesome. So I think that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it so much. If you enjoyed this podcast, I would really appreciate you giving me a thumbs up and subscribing to this channel if you would like. I would appreciate that very much as well. I hope you all have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.